This is the shot that we'll be matching to in 3, 2, 1. What is going on, guys? Shooting Dave here, so good to see your faces. Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're new here and you don't know what I'm about, I'm a photographer from London that now lives here in Los Angeles, and I make photo and video editing tutorials. So if that sounds of interest to you, then please do consider subscribing. In this video, I want to see if it's possible to take an Insta360 ONE R and get the footage out of it to look the same as this shot right here. Basically, I want to see if footage from an action camera can look like this camera. Hi, Editing Dave here. Okay, so why would you want to match your action camera to your main camera? Well, say you're recording a different angle, or you're out doing a vlog and you got your camera mounted somewhere else. You want to make sure both of those cameras and their colors look identical. That is why you want to match it up so that your viewer doesn't get taken out of the moment. Okay, back to the video. Okay, so let's talk about setting up the camera. Now, the A camera that I'm using is a Canon M50 with a Viltrox speed booster and a Canon 24mm f2.8 lens, which means that it actually opens up to f2. I'm shooting at 1/50th of a second because I'm doing 24 frames per second, and I'm using ISO 125 so that it balances nicely with this light that I've got. So on this, I have it at 50th of a second at 24 frames per second. This is an f2.8 lens, so I've compensated the ISO by raising it to ISO 200. Now, by my maths, that means we're going to be off by 1/3 of a stop, but I shall correct it and the colours in post. I'm also shooting at white balance of 5000 Kelvin on this, whereas this one is 5600 Kelvin, and that's because I can't finally dial in the Kelvin balance on this. I have to either go for 6500 or 5000. So I chose 5000, I deemed it to be close enough. I'm also shooting in log on this, so that gives me the maximum amount of latitude, so I can swing those colours a little bit and hopefully recover that third of a stop lost light. For the field of view on this, I have it set to its longest lens, which is narrow field of view on this, so we don't get that super wide distorted look, and I'm hoping it'll be close to around 24mm. But I'm also shooting in 4K, so hopefully if there is any discrepancies in framing, I can just punch in and reframe ever so slightly. Right, so that is all the settings taken care of. This is the shot that we'll be matching to in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, and now we are on the Insta360 ONE R. This is straight out of the box, and this is color corrected. Not bad, right? Or is it crap? I can't actually tell because I haven't actually graded this yet, so I don't know whether it looks any good or not. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I'd love to see what your opinion is. Now, there are going to be some differences. The Insta360 ONE R is essentially an action camera, and with that comes a tiny sensor and a very wide-angled lens. Now, what does that mean? Well, I don't have a shallow depth of field like I do on my Canon M50, but there is a fix for that in post, sort of. Now, this is the same shot with shallow depth of field. However, there is a slight issue. If I was to move like this or like this, you can tell what that issue is straight away. I would have to motion track the mask that I use to blur the background every time I moved. And honestly, I'm not in the mood to be doing that, and it'll take way too much time. But there is a way of fixing the shallow depth of field issue. It probably works best for locked off shots where no one is moving and my floppy head isn't moving around in frame. Also, given that it is an action camera, you'd expect the audio to be quite terrible. And if you're wondering why it actually sounds so good, it's because I'm actually using this little mic adapter from Insta360 themselves, and it sounds pretty good. So if I was to disconnect the adapter, this is what it would sound like. With adapter, without adapter, without. Does that sound better?
No, it doesn't sound better at all. And I think I know the reason for that. I don't think it's actually the adapter's fault. What I actually think is the problem is that I'm using an unpowered mic. I'm actually using this, the Rode Video Micro, which doesn't have any batteries and it's just plugged straight into the headphone jack of the camera. I think if you were using a powered microphone, it would sound much, much better. So, didn't really work out for this result, but if you use a powered mic, I'm sure it'd be much better. Okay, back to the video. So the Canon M50 is obviously better in this situation, right? Well, it has some benefits. It's a much larger sensor, which allows for better low light performance and also a much more shallow depth of field, which is pleasing in some scenarios. And you can also change the lenses on this camera, which makes it much more versatile. But is it really more versatile? Well, the One R has the ability to shoot in slow motion, whereas the Canon M50 can only do 60 frames per second. The One R also has built-in features like HDR video, time-lapse, standard video, and time shift as well. It is waterproof straight out of the box, unlike the M50, and it has the ability to switch into a 360 camera just by swapping out one of the modules. I'm currently using the 4K module inside this one. So as versatility goes, I would say that the M50 is beaten by the Insta360 ONE R. But this isn't a camera showdown, this is basically asking a question whether you can match your footage from an action camera to your A camera. And the answer to that question is, well, it's up to you really. Let me know what you think down in the comments. By dialing in the settings and some nice color grading, also the use of some accessories, you can get the footage of the Insta360 ONE R pretty close to the A camera, which in my mind is rather impressive. However, there's no substitute for having a larger sensor and being able to get those shallow depths of field shots. Personally, I really enjoy that look, and well, I don't want to go masking myself all the time with one of these. Now, if you'd like to know how I color graded the footage from this and actually applied all these masks, then leave a comment down below. I'll make a tutorial showing the behind the scenes of all of that in the future. And if you're super surprised by how good the footage came out of this Insta360 ONE R, then I'll leave some links down in the description box and you can pick some up for yourself. I'll also list the accessories that I use in order to plug this microphone into it, as well, as that is a pretty cool feature, so it's nice to have a second shot if I need it using something much smaller like one of these, and it just opens up the versatility of having an action camera with you. Anyway guys, that is all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, leave a comment down below or give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do subscribe and follow me on Instagram. I am @ShootingDave, and as always guys, I will see you in the next one. See ya.